Warning: this content you are about to watch talks about disturbing content such as mental health issues, psychological abuse, self-harm, violence, and so on. It may trigger anxiety response, post-traumatic stress, depression, or emotional reaction. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, my name is Biscuit and I work for a company called Drill Team Dynamics. I am a Drill Team Dynamics associate, and why I'm making these videos is to help those who are going through what I had went through in high school, to help them push through, and as well as to help prevent those from going through what I had to go through. And with that being said, make sure you check out my freshman year part 1 and 2, as well as my sophomore year part 1, so you can stay in line with the story. On my last video, it kind of was a little bit rocky, so this one is also going to be a little bit rocky as well. But to get started, so as I've previously mentioned, the guys have felt that whenever competing, it was not the same without the unarmed team there, and it was pretty upsetting, as we saw in my last video. When I was at Daytona, I had a friend come up to me and ask me, "Hey, where's your team?" That hit pretty hard because it didn't feel right. It did not feel right being there without my team. And when he asked me that, I just stood there because it felt like I had the air knocked out of me. When he realized, he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I forgot." And I was like, "That's totally okay. I understand, because things happen, you know." I had it was a little experience there. But once the guys finished competing, they headed straight back home on the bus, and I headed back home with my parents. When we got back the following day, when we got to school, that morning when I went to my first period of class, teachers were crying, and a lot of students didn't really understand why, but the teachers were told not to talk about it. And this I don't really quite understand, because the students were going to find out either way, and I don't understand why the school would tell the teachers not to talk about it. But we had a cadet in the Corps who committed suicide. This took a really big toll on the entire unit because everybody knew of him, but it was the fact of like that mass grief that was going around. Even if you didn't quite know this cadet, it made you feel sympathetic towards those who did. It was just really rough all around. Like, they had grief counselors there, and it was pretty upsetting. And I know our Corps, the unit, we did I think it's called a service or something similar to that. But before that, they had an open casket where a lot of the high school students went to, and I went to it as well. It didn't look like him, and it was kind of weird, but once everybody went through and saw him, a lot of cadets broke down and cried in the hallway afterwards. I just kind of took it all in and moved forward with it. A death is really, really hard on a lot of people, which I totally understand. Once, I think it was a little while after the open casket, they had the whole ceremony where they had the cadets dressed up in their uniforms, and I think they did a color guard, or they were carrying his casket. I'm not too sure because I was not there, but I have seen pictures, and a lot of the students came out to his ceremony or burial. I'm not too familiar with the terms because I wasn't there. when they did it. But when you lose somebody to a suicide, it takes a huge toll on everybody. Anyone that was around that person, anybody that knew of that person, it takes some form of grief. And it was hard, and even today it's still kind of difficult just to think about it. Because like even family members, because like they could be your family, it could be a friend or a distant relative, you know, it could happen to anybody. And it's kind of scary to think about because nobody saw it coming. Because he was such a smart kid. A lot of people wish they could have done more. Sometimes you just don't see the signs. But I would highly encourage to take the time out of your day to make somebody smile. Just comfort those around you. Make sure those that you love know that you love them, because they could be gone at any minute. The thing that happened was after high school, we had a coach, and this coach I kind of knew, but it was during the second semester of my weight training class, and I had him for that semester. And I remember this one particular time I said, "Hey, where's Coach so-and-so?" And he was right there, and I didn't even notice him because he blended in with the bench and everything. So I was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Can I go to ROTC? I need to get this done." And both of them were like, "Yeah, it's cool, go." That's one of my memories of him. But he's really tall, crazy tall. But he had a wife and a kid. And over the summer, I think it was a little after 4th of July, he passed away in his sleep. And it took a huge toll on our football team, on a lot of the athletic students there, because he was such a big part of the football team and everything just going on. Everybody knew of him pretty much, and it was hard to get that news, especially after 4th of July. It sucks a lot. No one saw it coming. I mean, he passed away in his sleep. But we had done a couple things in his name for him, which was the school decision at that year. I know the seniors of that class had his name on a street sign, or as like a road name, and for the school, for the bus lanes when you came in and out. So it was really cool of the senior class to do that. Whenever you feel down on yourself, make sure that you look for the little things throughout your day that are positive. And what I mean by that is that, say if you like a cup of coffee and you look forward to that coffee, that's a positive thing in your day. Say if you like working out every day, you like running, then, and you look forward to doing those physical things, then take that positivity from it. I know that the negativity weighs so much that you feel like your whole world is crashing down. But you have to take the positives out of the negative. As we saw in my previous video, like I broke down. And the reason I laugh is because I try and stay on the positive side of things. I try to look on the brighter side of things, because when literally just the other day I was going through all of my old photos, and not in a single one of them was I upset or frustrated. In every one of those photos I took, I always had a smile. And I thought to myself, I was like, wow, every photo I took, I had a smile. My freshman year, I was such that positive person. I was really happy all the time. And then sophomore year hit, and it kind of took me a few notches back because it was the hard reality of life. I know it sucks, but you have to face it and you have to survive it. And you just got to make sure that you're looking on the positive side of things. And in every photo I took, I had a smile on, because in that moment I was enjoying what I was doing. You have to make sure you're taking those moments and cherishing them. Just make sure you take those little positives out of your day. Another thing I used to do was my sophomore year, especially during weight training. I did every workout. I loved working out. Right now I'm a couch bum. If I worked out now, I would be dying in a sense. But when I ran, I had 2 friends in weight training. And when I ran, those 2 would play Frisbee and I would do my run. And when I would run, you know how when you run, you're supposed to start at a consistent pace and keep that consistency as you're running. Well, for me, what I did was I started off at a consistent pace, and then I just got faster and faster and faster until that 4th lap. And when it came to the opposite end of this track, I was booking it. Like, I just kept running and running and running. And once I made it to that finish point, I stopped and I walked a lap. Once I walked that lap, I would do a certain number of push-ups, and then I would do, I think I had like a 3-minute plank going on. And by the time I did that, pretty much it was about time for our next class. And I did that every time we got a chance to go outside. Whenever I was home and say I didn't get to run that day, I ran when I got home. Because I was going through such a difficult time, I used running as a way to help me get through it. And when I ran, I mostly ran better when I was upset, because I guess now looking back on it, I was trying to run away from something physically and mentally, and I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing until I couldn't breathe. And then when I couldn't breathe, and actually catching my breath, it felt like I was alive. And there would be a couple of times, I know this sounds really ridiculous, but whenever I would run, in order to keep myself from pushing and giving up, I would slap my chest really hard. Like, I would keep slapping my chest so that I could keep running. It's really bad, but sometimes I still do it. It's because I feel myself giving up, and that's a way of me telling myself, no, don't give up, you need to keep pushing. And just like in running, when you're trying to meet that goal, that end point, you have to push through, and you have to continue to push yourself to stand up and go do something. That's pretty much the same way it is mentally, is you have to tell yourself, hey, I need you to get up. I need you to move on. I need you to move forward and to push through whatever negative thing is happening today. I would have days where I didn't want to do a single thing. And it would get to that point where I was like, I have to run. Like, I couldn't think of anything else but running. And that's how I got through it. Now, say if you like reading and you enjoy reading, read a book. Read a graphic novel. I love graphic novels. I am a comic book nerd. If you give me a comic book, I'll read it. You give me a novel that's written, good luck. I love my graphic novels, but if you like, say, playing baseball, go outside, go to somewhere where you can go pitching and just keep hitting those balls, keep throwing pitches, you know. I know I used to like doing soccer a lot, but I wasn't the greatest at it. But I occasionally with soccer, like I would just get the soccer ball and go play outside. And I mean, something you enjoy doing. Like if you like knitting, start knitting. It's okay. my uncle used to call me an old lady when I was like 7 or 8 years old because I was crocheting. And you know what? I took it. I was like, that's okay. I'm making something cool. And a lot of the times, society thinks that we have to be a certain way. We have to meet the certain expectation. And I think that's what also put a lot of pressure on me, is because I was trying to be somebody that I wasn't. And I know kids in high school are super tough and you want to try and fit in and everything. But in the end, it's not worth it. Because looking back on it, I'm just laughing at myself. I'm like, why did I do that? Or why did I do this? That was just ridiculous. Like, before I moved to Georgia, like, I didn't care what people thought of me. Like, when I was in Michigan, I wore whatever I wanted, and my grandmother would tell me my outfit looked absolutely ridiculous. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to school like this anyways. And I went to school like that. I should have listened, but I didn't. I was really stubborn, and I liked the way I looked. And you know what? You got to have that confidence. And when I moved, I lost that confidence. I was a really big tomboy back in middle school, and there's one picture in a yearbook where I wore a gray short sleeve shirt, and it had like a white, or not white, but it was like a grayish green kind of color, and then it had like a yellow blotch of like Chicago City on it from like a jiu-jitsu match I did. I wore purple basketball shorts, and I tucked in my shirt, and I wore blue Uggs along with a green headband and my hair up in a bun. So keep that in mind. I was that person that did not care as I looked, and I should have listened to my grandmother, yeah, but I still wore it. I wore whatever I wanted to wear. I was like, I'm going to school like this. I don't care what you think. See ya. And I was out the door. That year, I tucked in my shirts all the time. Why? I don't know. Looking back on it, I'm just like, why did I choose to do that? Like, why? But I did not care. And that's the best thing about being a kid, is I didn't care. I didn't care what other people thought. And then when I moved and I got into high school, I was like, oh, I should probably be more like this girl, or I should be wearing more of these clothes, or I should be wearing this or that. Honestly, I was trying to fit in. And even then, like, I never really felt comfortable in the clothes that I was wearing. Yes, you have dress codes. Make sure you follow the dress code, because you don't want to get in trouble for that. I did maybe once, but it was what it was. I put on pants. I did what the lady told me. Follow the dress code as much as you can. Just be you. Always be you. That is the most important thing that I want y'all to take away from this, is be yourself. Because in the next, like, 2 years in my career, especially junior year of high school, it was bad. I would try to fit in or be this certain kind of person that I wasn't. I wasn't happy, you know? And be who you want to be. Have that confidence. Don't give a crap about what other people think of you, as long as it's not bad things that you know you shouldn't be doing. But be yourself. Be yourself. Because no matter what people think, you're probably not going to see them 5 years, 10 years down the road. But keep in mind, always be kind to others, and always smile. Fake it till you make it, and that's what I did. I faked it until I made it, and I made it. I know it's an awful thing to say, and it's cliche, but that's what I did. I faked it till I made it. And having a smile and pushing through every day, even if you had such a bad day, it helps a lot. So always smile and always be kind to others. And like on one of my quotes that I do on Instagram daily is, smile at a stranger and you never know, you might change a life. So that being said, Stay positive. Stay safe. Love yourself. Bye.
For more information on how to get help, you can visit Crisis Text Line, and you can text the number 741741, or visit their website, www.crisistextline.org. Or you can visit National Suicide Prevention Lifeline by dialing the number 1-800-273-8255, or visit their website, www.suicidepreventionlifeline.org.